On today's episode of Baking My Songs,
Example A, we have yet another song that is written about my husband. Then I will feel like I'm singing a lie when I sing the second verse in that song. Welcome back to a very special episode of Baking My Songs. Today we are going all the way back to the beginning. This is the song that got me in the album mindset. I am so excited to talk about it. I'm so excited to bake this sweet treat. So today we're gonna be talking about my debut single off of this album, Cowboy Looks Good on Him, and we're gonna be making birthday cupcakes. You might ask, why are we making birthday cupcakes? Number one, because June is my birthday month, so that's part of the reason. But the main reason is because on June 27th, that marks 1 year of this album being released. It's hard to believe we're already at the 1 year mark, basically. I can hardly even think about where all that time went. I do not know, but here we are almost 1 year later. I've had so much fun playing these songs around town, having instrumentalists play with me, sharing stories and creative details behind these songs. I'm so excited to talk about Cowboy Looks Good on Him. Let's get into it and start with our birthday cupcakes. This is really the song that started it all. I've said in previous videos talking about Blame It On My Heart, You Ain't Him, Prove You Wrong. Those were all songs that I had pre-recorded before I changed my last name, before I did any of that. But the reason that this is the song that started it all is because this is when I really started thinking about releasing an album. I would really say that this song is my debut song because this is after I changed my last name and kind of rebranded a little bit. So this really feels like my first foot forward in creating country music. This all started back in 2022. This is when I wrote and released this, or no, I wrote it in 2022 and then I released it in 2023. So I had a good chunk of time after writing it to really kind of figure out the direction production wise. Honestly, like starting to think about the whole album, like what do I want the story to be? I wrote this with Will Bentley, who is in Washington, where I'm from. I took writing trips out there to write for this album, which is funny, moving to Nashville to write, and then just ending up going back. Will was actually also my vocal coach for a few of these songs on this album. So he was really helpful in the studio with different run ideas, harmony ideas, things like that. But if you cannot tell, we have yet another song that is written about my husband. He really is just inspiration for many things in my life. So this is yet another song that is written about him. I really liked the idea of writing a song about watching him kind of transition from Washington way of life to Tennessee way of life, and also kind of talking about Washington setting, talking about walking down to the waterfront, which is something that we did most days, about the different turns through the mountains when we would go hiking. There's a line in the song about hairpin turns through mountains. That's very true. However, I did take the hairpin idea from a book that I read called Hairpin Bridge by Taylor Adams, who also happens to be a Washingtonian. I just really liked that description of like really kind of jagged turns through mountains, which is very true for driving through the mountains in Washington. Also talking about K2 skis, which is a type of ski that is made in Washington State. We're kind of deciding when we were writing this because I had this song concept of just Cowboy Looks Good on Him. I just had that title. I knew I wanted it to be a song about my husband, but I didn't know exactly how to go about it. And we were kind of deciding, is it going to be Cowboy Looks Good on Him, or are we gonna be singing it to him and it would be Cowboy Looks Good on You? And I really liked the idea of writing a love song about someone, because usually saying a love song to someone, but I kind of liked the idea of talking about him, but it's still being a love song. And also I felt like that would be very true to our current situation with him being a truck driver and being gone on the road. And I actually do tell people about him like I'm doing right now. Another fun thing about this song in the second verse is I really tried to add real life details, and talking about his gray Mercedes. He still has that car to this day, and I will be sad whenever the day is that he gets rid of it, because then I will feel like I'm singing a lie when I sing the second verse in that song. All right, we have our cooked and a little bit disfigured cupcakes, but I loosened them around the pan and they easily come out. If you remember last video, that's where it all went wrong. Basically, the last step for these cupcakes are to add some vanilla icing, and also I found some really cute sprinkles that kind of have a little bit of the color palette for the original cover art for this single, Cowboy Looks Good on Him. There's also little stars in there too, which make it super cute. So we're gonna add the icing and then top it with some sprinkles. I don't know how well some of these are going to look because they're so disfigured. Example A. This song was produced by my good friend Quentin Davis, who I'd been working with for many years now. Adding Will to the mix and our friend Victoria, it was just such a good time creating music with friends and writing. Well, that is it for today's episode of Baking My Songs. I think this is probably the most successful that my baking has ever been. Of course, the cupcakes are a little misshapen, but other than that, I would say that this was pretty successful compared to previous attempts. I cannot believe that we are almost at 1 year of my album being released. I hope you are loving it. I hope you are still listening to the songs, sharing it with your friends, adding it to your playlist. I'm really excited to be working on new music right now, writing for my second album. But until then, hope you enjoyed this episode, and I would love to see you in the next one.
You can listen to my song Cowboy Looks Good on Him off my debut album, Blame It on My Heart, wherever you listen to music.